Common intention implies a pre-arranged plan and acting in a concert pursuant to the plan. Common intention comes into being prior to the commission of the act, which need not to be a long gap. To bring a common intention into effect, a pre-concert is not necessarily be proved, but it may well develop on the spot as between a number of persons and could be inferred from the facts and circumstances of each case. For example, A and B caught hold of C where only B stabbed C with a knife, but A is also liable for the murder as there was a pre-concerted action in the case Pandurag versus State of Hyderabad. The Supreme Court emphasizes on this point that a prior concert need not be something always very much prior to the incident, but could well be something that may develop on the spot, on the spur of the movement. Common intention and similar intention. Common intention does not mean a similar intention of the several person. To constitute a common intention, it is necessary that the intention of each one of them be known to the rest of them and shared by them. In the case of Dukmochan Pandey versus State of Bihar, the Supreme Court held that a common intention which developed at the spur of the movement is different from the similar intention actuated a number of persons at the same time. The distinction between the common intention and similar intention may be fine, but is nonetheless a real one and if overlooked may lead to the miscarriage of justice. The mere presence of accused together is not sufficient to hold that they shared the common intention to commit the offense in question. It is necessary that the intention of each of several persons be known to each other for constituting a common intention.
Okay. So basically, there's a difference between common intention and similar intention. Okay. Now, suppose there's a group of your friends, okay, and all of you decide to watch a movie together. Okay, go to the cinema hall and watch a movie, or maybe order a pizza together. Okay, that's a common intention. So maybe one person will order the pizza, but all of you are going to eat it, right? Now, let's say that in another situation, your group of friends is also going to order pizza, or let's say you alone are going to order pizza, and your roommate or the person in the room next to you also is going to order pizza, and both of you order pizza at the same time from the same restaurant at the exact same order as well. That's a similar intention. Common intention means all of us together have decided to eat a pizza. Similar intention means I have also decided to eat a pizza, you have also decided to eat a pizza, but separately, not together. Okay, that's basically the difference, right? Now, they have given an example here. A and B caught hold of C. Only B stabbed C, but A will also be guilty, right? Because both of them had a common intention to kill C. Okay, even though only A was the one who actually killed C, but both of them went there together with the same intention. Both of them caught hold of A at the same time. One of them stabbed them. Both of them will be guilty. Okay. Now, common intention may be developed exactly at the moment. Suppose right now all of us decided that, hey, let's have a pizza, and then we ordered it. Or maybe from the morning itself, we had thought, like, if we work hard today, after the class today, let's all order a pizza. So, common intention can happen exactly at spur of moment. Common intention can take place from a pre planned manner as well. Okay. Now, similar intention and common intention are there is a very uh, fine difference. Fine doesn't mean like, how are you? I am fine. Fine means very subtle. In Hindi, we say maheen. Okay, it means like very kind of, like you have to actually search for that kind of difference. Sometimes the difference may be so minute or so subtle that it appears that both of them are overlapping. But actually, there may be a very fine or very real difference which you cannot see. Okay. Now, who wants to answer? Please raise your hand. Okay. This passage, I think some of you all are finding difficulty in. Don't worry. Whichever question you all are not able to do, I will help you with that. So first one, Shafi, please go ahead.
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah.
Sir, question number 96. A gang of 6 members went to a bank armed with weapons to commit a heist. While 5 of the gang members went inside the bank, Mr. A, the 6 member, waited outside the bank to alert them on any threat. During the heist, one of the gang members fired a gun at the branch manager. As a result, he died. All 5 escaped, but Mr. A was caught and arrested. Now choose the most appropriate option as per the principle stated in the above passage. Sir, the answer should be B, because according to the passage, Mr. A is not liable for murder as he was no outside the bank. So there is a common intention. So according to the passage,
Yeah, John, go ahead.
So in the exam, I had written option A, but now when I think that it's mentioned in the passes that all six of them were armed with weapons, so that implies they might be thinking of hurting someone.
Think about it like this. 5 of us ordered a pizza. All right. 5 of us together said, hey guys, let's eat pizza. Okay, let's eat cheeseburger pizza. So all of us ordered the pizza. Okay. Pizza came. Okay. And what happened that, all of my friends, they took the box of pizza and they ran away. Okay. Leaving me with the bill and the pizza delivery guy. Do you think the pizza delivery guy will say it's okay, hey, no problem, your friends ran away with the pizza, so they have to pay, you can go? No, I was part of that common intention. I was part of the group of people who ordered the pizza. So I will be equally responsible even though I did not eat the pizza. Even though my friends took the pizza, ran away and ate it somewhere else, I will still be liable because I had a common intention while ordering the pizza to eat the pizza. So if a group of us decided to rob a bank, few of them went inside, I stayed outside, right? But still, because of their actions, I will still be liable because I was part of the common intention, isn't it? Okay.
But sir, there was no common intention to kill somebody, right?
Yeah, I agree. There's no common intention to kill somebody, but when you are going armed with weapons to commit a heist, that there is a severe likelihood. Do you remember that case in tort law where we had studied when you shoot a cannon into the crowd, right? You shoot a cannon into the crowd, it is likely to cause injury. Now, if the cannon hits somebody and they die, then you will say, hey, I never intended to kill anyone. I just shot a cannon into the crowd. But if you're going into a bank armed with weapons to commit a heist, it is reasonably foreseeable that you are going to end up in some kind of violence, okay? Because even the bank has got a person with an armed gun. Obviously, if you go over there, it doesn't mean that they are going to let you take away the cash. There's going to be a scuffle. Police are going to be called. The bank guard is going to come, who himself has a gun. Right. So it is reasonably foreseeable that there is going to be some kind of, action. Otherwise, you would never have gone there with guns. You would never have gone there with any weapons. You would have just gone there to loot the bank. Why have you gone with the gun? You have gone there with the intention to criminally intimidate those people and with the reasonable foresight that it can lead to some kind of, actions which may result in death. That is why it is a situation which reasonably foreseeably can result in death, isn't it? Even though you did not have a particular intention to go and kill somebody, you had the intention to commit a heist which has a reasonable consequence of committing them, doesn't it? So you have to take all the liabilities that follow from that action which are reasonably foreseeable, not those liabilities which are not reasonably foreseeable, right? Now, if suppose out of those 5 people who went inside the bank, one of them took one of the tellers who was a lady and molested her, then am I liable? No, because there was no intention of us when we went over there to molest or harass any lady. The intention was to commit a robbery, and the crime was such that it was reasonably foreseeable that it could lead to death because you are carrying a weapon with you, isn't it? But it was not reasonably foreseeable that one of them would go and commit a harassment or a rape or a molestation. You understanding the point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Oh, that's a very good question. And honestly speaking, like inside the exam hall, it is justified if you get confused, okay? But that's the job of the examiner. Job of the examiner is to separate the wheat from the chaff, right? 99% of people would get confused by the question. 1% who don't get confused will go to NLU, right? Because if you see the percentage of people who go to NLS versus the percentage of people who write the exam, it's probably like a very minute fraction, isn't it? Okay. So you have to think on your feet when it comes to questions like this. Now, let me give you an example of the next question. Okay.
The question says Raman and Raghav were riding on a motorcycle on a busy street. Suddenly, Aman, another biker, bumped into the bike. A heated argument started between the three of them. While Raghav started abusing Aman, Raman hit Aman with an iron rod lying on the road, and as a consequence, he died. Now, choose the correct option. So the answer to this question is B. Raghav is not liable for murder as there was no common intention to kill Aman, and this can be said as Aman may hit him because it was the heat of the moment and it was not pre-planned that he is going to kill somebody. So I think option B is correct.
Now, how do you differentiate between this question and the previous one? Because even over there, it's the same thing, right? Like, I did not intend to kill somebody. I intended to rob a bank. So how do you differentiate between this and the previous one?
Because they were taking some kind of weapons and then they were going to rob that.
First of all,
And
when
in
you
this
are
question, they are normally they were normally having their bike.
correct.
So
Okay. Now, if you are going to rob a bank with weapons, it is reasonably foreseeable that some kind of violence can happen. But if you are riding a motorcycle and it happens all the time, every day, somebody bumps into somebody, there's, what happens? People get out, they shout at each other, they abuse each other, police comes, somebody pays some money and they go away. Usually you don't expect it to result in death, right? If it's a motor accident, it's very different from robbing a bank. Robbing a bank with guns, it's foreseeable that there can be some kind of violence that occurs. In a small thing like somebody bumped into the bike, you are having an argument, it is very common. There was no weapons also involved. One guy saw one weapon lying on the road, one steel rod lying on the road and bashed his head in till he died. Is it, I mean, as a fellow passenger in that car, did I wake up that morning thinking like I want to fight with him and kill someone? Or when I get into an argument with the third guy about bashing up the bumper, probably my thinking was like, hey, he should pay for the bumper. Hey, I will take him to police. Hey, I will sue him. Something like that. My intention was that, hey, let me kill him. Right? So this is how you differentiate between the previous question and this one. The foreseeability, which is one of the most common principles of law if you have studied in like tort law and others. The foreseeability of the action, right? Over here, being a co-passenger, I could never have imagined that if somebody bashed up my bumper and I started arguing with him, my friend will grab a steel rod and kill him. Right? Probably then I wouldn't have entered into that argument. I would have told my friend, hey, it's okay, let it be, let's move on. Okay. That is the difference between the two cases. Okay. Now, next one.
Sir, answer option A is correct because if we use the elimination method, all the other options are in relation with the difference between common intention and similar intention.
Okay, fair enough. That's one way to go about. Okay. If we look at the question, it says, after reading the passage, which of the following is not correct in relation to difference between common and similar intention? That means that in the question, they are going to give you examples of difference between common and similar intention. And they want you to find the one that is not a difference between common and similar intention. Okay, so let's start. Similar intention is developed prior to commission of offense, but common intention is developed only at the time of commission of offense. Okay, this is not true. If you see here, it says common intention into effect, a pre-concert is not necessarily to be proved. It may well develop on the spot and could be inferred from the facts of each case. Okay. Common intention implies a pre-arranged plan and acting in concert, but common intention comes into being prior to the commission of act, which need not be a long gap. Okay. So basically what it is saying is that it need not be a long gap, but it could be a long gap. So suppose I say that, sir, suppose you ask me a question like, sir, is it necessary to, something, you ask me a question like, is it necessary for us to, do XYZ thing? I say, you need not do it. But that doesn't mean you should not do it. You may do it, you may not do it. It's up to you. Like, sir, should we eat non-vegetarian food or should we eat vegetarian food? I'm like, you need not eat non-vegetarian food. If you want to, you can, but it's not necessary for you to. But then again, I'm not saying that you should not eat. I'm not banning you from eating. Okay. Same way over here, if you see. Similar intention is developed prior to commission of offense, obviously. Common intention is developed only at the time of commission of offense. It is not necessary. It can be at the time of commission of offense. It can be prior to the commission of offense. Like, it can be like in the morning also we decided to eat pizza. It might be right now also we decide to eat pizza. Okay. So you cannot say that this is a difference between the two. Understood? Both of them can be before, both of them can be during also. This is not a difference between the two. The rest of them are differences. Okay. Under common intention, each of the offenders is equally liable, but under similar intention, each of the offenders is separately liable, right? So in the case of the pizza, if all my friends run away and I am left with the bill, then I have to pay, or any of my friends has to pay. If they manage to catch any one of my other friends, that friend also has to pay. Each one of us is equally liable to pay for the pizza because each one of us has commonly together ordered the pizza, right? But similar intention, only that person is liable. So if there are 4 rooms and 4 people have ordered pizza separately, but with the same intention of ordering pizza, but not together, separately, then one person will be liable for their pizza and another person will be liable only for their pizza, not for each other's pizza. Did you understand? That is basically the difference between common intention and similar intention. Common intention means doing the same thing together. Similar intention means doing the same thing, but not together, separate. That is basically it. Very, very simple concept. Okay.
Mr. X and Mr. Y entered into a house at night to commit theft. While committing theft, Mr. Y committed sexual assault on a minor girl of age 11 years. Identify for which of the following offenses Mr. X is liable for. So in the option A, both theft and sexual assault, as there was a common intention. I think, sir, option C is correct because Mr. X was not intended for raping that girl, but was intended for theft. Okay.
Good. Good. Yes, Sanskriti, you're right. Well done. And I'm happy to see that, whenever people participate for first time, I'm very happy because like that gives a certain sense of confidence, and next time you will feel even more confident to answer, right? Good.
Yes.
Now, as we gave the example of the bank, if 5 of them had entered with the intention to kind of rob the bank, one of them went and raped somebody. That was not the common intention. That is somebody only liable for that particular thing. If 5 of us ordered pizza together and only one of us wanted garlic bread and they ordered garlic bread separately, they are only liable to pay for garlic bread, not rest of us. Right? Very, very simple concept. If you think of it in terms of analogies that are easy to understand for you, it will be very, very clear. Right? So similarly over here, if both of them had gone with intention to rape and only one of them raped, still the other would be liable because the intention was the same. But both of them went with the intention to steal money. By chance, there was a girl over there who was raped by one of them. Only that person will be guilty of rape, but both of them will be guilty of what? Theft, right? Because the intention for theft was common. The intention was rape was only that person. Okay? Yeah. Now, next question. A bit more about legal reasoning from what you knew maybe 2 days ago, right? And this paper has also become little more clear and simpler compared to what it was 2 days ago. 2 days ago, it was a whole kind of a maze for us. It was some kind of illusory paper. And we had all these doubts that this time CLAT consortium has given terrible paper, confusing paper, all the answer key is wrong, everything is unclear. But now you have seen each and every answer has been explained, each and every answer we have agreed with. So far, there has not been a single case in which we have disagreed with the answer. There was one question in which, I agreed with the answer, but I felt they should not have given this question. That was the case of the painting of the body of the naked woman, which the children had done. and the consortium had said it is not obscenity. I agree with the consortium, it is not obscenity, but in real life, a judge has decided that it was obscenity. Okay. Now, while I agree with the consortium and I feel that they are more enlightened than maybe the the Indian legal system today, with all due respect to the judiciary of India, they should probably not give questions where the position of law is different from what their morality states. Even though I agree with their morality, probably I would avoid questions where the position of law is different. Okay, but still, that is the correct answer which they have given. You can't argue with them that the answer is correct. Okay.